First of all, you don't know me.
We're all about that high school drama girl, all about them high school queens. We'll take you for a ride in our comic girl, cheering for the right team. Drama queens, smart girl, rough girl, fashion but you're tough girl. You could sit with us, girl. Drama queens, drama queens, drama queens, drama queens, drama queens.
Oh, hello, friends and One Tree Hill family. This is an exciting episode for us today. We are on season 2, episode 8, Bitter Truth. Brooke, Peyton, Haley, and Anna have a slumber party at Haley's apartment where secrets and lies are revealed, and there's a pillow fight. Meanwhile, Lucas and Nathan go on a road trip to a Bobcats game, and Nathan reveals he is actually being tested for the genetic defect that caused Dan's heart attack and asks Lucas to do the same. After an awkward encounter with Keith and Jules, Karen and Andy share a spicy night together. And this episode, honestly, give me more. When she said, "Oh, Professor," I almost passed out. But guys, this episode started in such a deeply nostalgic place for me, because this is the opener where Brooke Davis drops the line about diaries, how good girls keep diaries and bad girls don't have time. And oh man, I don't know what it is about that line, but it really put me in all my feelings at the top of the episode.
It's true. I mean, like, do we want evidence? Do we want that trail of breadcrumbs where people know what we've been up to?
No. You got to light that paper trail on fire.
Listen, I was literally with a girlfriend of mine this morning having coffee, and she was telling me about her grandmother, her like scandalous grandmother. And when her grandmother died, she had a box of letters that she ordered the grandchildren to burn. And they sat there at the fire. They're like, "Do we read them? Do we read them?" Bad girls. Bad girls burn the letters. That's what happens.
All right.
So we don't have Joy with us this week. We have a fabulous guest joining us in just a little bit, a big treat. But before we get into anything, I want to address that this was such a big episode for Haley, because when the stars go blue, like burst out onto the scene, that has become kind of a calling card for our show. The fans love it. I've seen Tyler sing it
anthem
8 billion times. It's such an iconic thing where Haley is finally like finding her groove with Chris Keller. And I love watching their spice together.
I love it. The chemistry between those two is so good. Hilarie and I were screaming while we were watching the episode about how the chemistry between them in that booth gave us both goosebumps. We were like, "Oh my God, look at my arm! Look at my arm!"
We both. Sometimes I think that we're like Haley Mills from The Parent Trap. You've got goosebumps too. Yes, George is in my lap right now. So if you hear iPad, that's what that is. She also loves Tree Hill Girl Time, which we had a lot of in this episode. They look so good together, and they sing so well together. And he puts Haley in a, he kind of uses all this gross language where he's like, "Sing it from somewhere deeper. Show me the thing you don't show anywhere else." And it sounds grody, but also he's making a point, like, you've been able to mail this in, your tutor girl.
Yeah, he really says to her, granted in creepy Chris Keller language, but he says to her that she has to dig deeper and get vulnerable. She needs to put her feelings out on the line. She needs to reveal passion, because you can hear it. And when it's missing, you're not into the song. And what I love about it is it's such a part of this bigger metaphor that's going on with Haley. And Haley says, in the sleepover, and Joy's so beautiful in the scene. She says, "I just want something that's just for me. It's not for my family. It's not for Nathan. It's for me. And Chris can help me get it."
That's it.
And when she says, "I just want to be able to go for it." And we're all sitting there going, "Oh, what, like a guy?"
Yeah.
And these girls get to admit that the double standard is hard for them, even as teenagers, seeing that guys are allowed to make mistakes and be into people and have feelings, whether they're anger or sexual or, goals, whatever.
Yeah.
It's all fine. She says Nathan never has to make excuses for what he wants. And it's this beautiful moment where these girls each together, you feel their determination to do things a little differently, but they also don't have a roadmap. They don't know how.
But didn't you feel that way growing up? I mean, even while we were on the show, the boys, I felt like were allowed to be lots of different things. And, I just remember feeling like, who's going to take me seriously? You know, when you're a teen drama actor, you can go on and do other stuff, right? You're like James Van Der Beek and you're getting cast in, you know, like cool stuff on your hiatus. But when you're a teen drama girl, you're kind of treated like, oh, you little idiot, you know? And I have always felt like, how do I make you understand?
How do I make you see that I'm smart and capable and that I'm driven? And that's what these 4 girls at the slumber party are talking about. And hell yes. I mean, give me a break. All the dumb shit the boys did, and we can say that because we're a family. We love them. They never got criticized for any of it.
No.
They never got dragged over the coals, and they did shit that's way dumber than we did.
Yeah. I mean, well, no, I mean, I had a lot of fun in Wilmington. I did a lot of like, but that was the thing. I was so self-conscious about like going out and dancing till 2 a.m. Like I thought for sure I was going to be just crucified for that.
Yep.
And I remember hearing people be like, oh, well, Katie Holmes during Dawson's Creek would dance on top of a bar. Good thing no one ever found out about that. And in my head, I'm like, well, what's wrong with that? Like
just having a good time.
Yeah, the boys all did it too. So that double standard is definitely triggering for me. And we both were like, who wrote this episode? Because it was clear that it was a woman.
She nailed it.
Yeah. Stacey Rookheiser, who has gone on to work on shows that we really respect a lot. I loved Unreal.
Me too.
Unreal was such a good show because it just stripped all the bullshit away from making television.
Yep. Yeah, it was really brilliant. And it's interesting because we've talked a little bit about narcissism and things on our show before. And there's a central tenet to like what happens when you're in a relationship with a narcissist, which is you aren't really looked at as a person. You're looked at as supply.
A product. Yeah, you're just a tool.
A product. And that's what it was like for us going through some of the things we went through on our show. Nobody cared about our feelings or experiences or our mental health because we were a product. And
easily replaceable product.
Exactly. That's what they love to tell us. And there was something about watching Unreal where they showed you, and you said this last week, when you get to show it, not necessarily say it, they showed you the reality of treating people like products to make something. And it's gross, and it doesn't have to be that way. We've all gone on to work on things where we're having the opposite experience while we're making the things we love to make.
And we all cry at the end of the day. We're like, it could have been like this.
It's so nice here. I really love it. And so it's really cool to have watched that show. It made me feel like somebody got it. And to know that Stacey went to do that show, having been on our show, I was like, ooh, I want to ask her so many questions. I can't wait to get her on this podcast. We have
to get her on this podcast because she also did October Road with Greenberg. You know what? She had an opening. She was like, I'm going to go do this other thing with our beloved Jake Jagelski. I'm going to go make magic over there.
And by the way, just to big up her some more, because we're so impressed with everything she's ever done, Stacey also created one of the biggest hit shows in the last 5 years. Sex Life is huge.
Yeah.
And, she's making a show about a woman's desire and exposing how taboo we still think that is.
It is.
And wow, anyway, we're Stacey, if you're listening, we love you and we think you're a badass, and that's all. Hey.
But it was definitely clear in the slumber party from the fight, the iconic fight, which, I'm not proud of every single scene that Peyton's ever been a part of. There's some real clunky stuff that I did over the years. And I think we all feel that way. But then there are certain scenes where you're like, oh, this was magic. This was lightning in a bottle. And there's a reason that people use this as GIFs, and they post this scene on the internet, and fans talk about it at conventions. Because when all of us girls are calling each other out for our lies, that is such an important part of female friendship. It is something that I've lived personally. And Joy and I have sat around and had these talks where it's like, wait, you said what? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Let's clear the air.
But what about this?
You did this. It makes total sense that a woman was like, boys, step aside. I'm going to handle this one.
Well, and what I loved was getting to the end of it, and you realize that there is a very human tendency to keep secrets about things that you haven't figured out or that you feel shame about. But the central tenet of the slumber party is you, as Peyton, saying, I want us to be better friends. I want us...
It's like, I want us to be able to talk about stuff even when it's ugly, especially when it's ugly. I think that's something like that. Or when it's hard.
Yeah. That's the notion, is that we should be better friends. Let's be the kinds of friends who really talk about everything and who can be a safe space to talk about everything together. And I just really loved that.
The slumber party is a sacred space. In American culture, that is, it's like going to church. You go to your slumber party, you make your confessions, you maybe take some sacramental wine?
A sacramental face mask?
Yeah. Wait, so when you were going to the all-girls high school, did you guys have summer parties, or were you so sick of each other by the end of the day?
Totally.
Yeah?
Oh my God. We slept over at each other's houses all the time. It was so fun. And I think it was, part of how you learned to be a little independent. Yeah. Because, you weren't staying at home, but you were like staying at a house where your best friend's parents were.
You hope, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. It's like finding your independence and just wanting to be with your friends all the time. Yeah. Not just at school.
These are the people I picked.
These are my people. We're forming our little village. What was it like at Parkview?
Well, we started making movies. That was like, I kind of made all my friends do what I wanted to do. So I wanted to make movies. And so all my girlfriends were like, okay. And so we would make all these like terrible movies, like The Virgin's Revenge. We definitely made one called The Virgin's Revenge that someone still has on VHS somewhere, about all the sluts named Crystal who were murdered. It's like when Scream came out, and it was Crystal with a C and Crystal with a K, and they were really mean, and this virgin at school that they picked on murdered them. So that, like, we had so much fun making stuff, because you have fun doing it, and then you have fun watching it, and then it becomes an inside joke. And still, here we are, 25 years later, and my girlfriends and I are still joking about The Virgin's Revenge and threatening to play it at each other's weddings and things.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's a good time. And I don't know, I worry sometimes that the things that we showed on One Tree Hill weren't accurate, but I feel like this episode, these female conversations were incredibly accurate. I liked it.
Yeah. And the way that Stacey wrote it, they got to call each other out, but it felt more like a calling in.
It wasn't bitchy.
No, what was under it, at least as a viewer now, was, why didn't you tell me about this? And why did you do that? And are you okay? Yeah. When Peyton, having done drugs with Rick, is revealed, it's like, you're not going to do that again, are you? Like, are you okay? And I love what Peyton says to Brooke when she's trying to act like she's in control of this whole situation with Felix. And you realize that Brooke is still so hurt from that betrayal with Lucas, that it broke her idea of falling in love, and that she's trying to figure out how to control a relationship. And you say the sweetest thing. You say, this is less than you.
Oh, it is, though.
It really is. And I don't know, I loved it, because you realize that, Brooke's kind of puffing her chest up and pretending to be somebody she really isn't.
Well, there was the whole... We've talked at length about them trying to sexy up our show every time they get a chance. And then I feel like when we get our female writers in, it's like they reel it back in. It's like they come and they put the Band-Aid on it, and they're like, okay, you've shown her naked in the pool, and you've shown her like sprawled out on this or that. Now we're going to provide the subtext and, make it make sense. So I like that pendulum swing.
I do too. And one of the things I realize now as an adult, looking at these characters, and especially Brooke and Peyton as best friends who didn't have healthy relationships modeled for them, is beginning to see where on our show we're getting to model healthy relationships. And that, I think, is where the stellar Karen and Andy storyline comes in.
Girl.
They are having like a really intellectual and romantic courtship. They're connecting over art and travel and I don't know. I love their energy so much. And I love that when they have a hurdle, it's over ethics.
Yes.
It's because there's a misdirect. Karen thinks that he didn't read her paper and he gave her an A because they're dating. And then he does this beautiful, he kind of shakes her emotionally and says, like, stop it. You're so much more prepared for this than you think you are. You've owned a business and been a single mom. You're good at this. Have more faith in yourself. Killed me.
We definitely wrote that one down.
We wrote it down.
A mom and a businesswoman has prepared you in ways you don't recognize. I love him. Should we bring boyfriend in?
I think it's time, guys. Our boyfriend's here today.
Ta-da! Friends, we've got the one and only Andy with us, Kieren Hutchison. Bring him in!
Hello.
Hi, bud.
Hi, Kieren.
Hi. Where are you guys?
Well, Soph's at the ranch.
At the ranch?
Yeah.
She's in California and I'm in New York. I'm at the farm.
Okay.
We all turned into agricultural people.
Yeah.
How the hell did that happen?
That's so cool.
Yeah, are you farming? What are you doing, my friend?
No farming, just suburban life.
Perfect. Listen, the suburbs are wild. I'm intimidated by the suburbs. The last time I saw you, I feel like was Tyler Hilton's wedding.
I was just thinking that. Yeah, it would have been Tyler Hilton's. And Sophia, I feel like we have a mutual friend, right? Fleur.
Yes.
First of all, we saw her at a birthday party. It's all about the same time, like 5 years ago or something.
Yes.
You mean back when
that's
people could
right.
like go out and wander around and congregate?
And hug.
That sounds nice.
Exactly.
Now
So
we're just
crazy.
doing a podcast. I don't know if you have heard any of our episodes, but we
I have, yeah.
sure gush about you, dude.
We sure do.
Andy was a sensation. Walk us through how you became Andy.
Andy, yeah. It was so fun watching the episode last night too, by the way. I haven't seen any of this for, it's been so long.
It's a time capsule.
Isn't it wild?
Yeah, what a great idea doing this too. You guys must be having a great time just seeing it all again.
It's a fun
It's
hang.
so fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Okay, so how did I do? I auditioned, and I remember it was quite a few auditions. It felt like 3, 4, producers, pre-reads, all that stuff. Back when you used to go into rooms to audition as well, back in the old days.
Yeah,
And
on
then,
tape.
Yeah, and the weird thing, it was American accent all the way through. He was just, the professor. That was the thing. And on the last day, I remember when I went in, it was just with Mark, and there was only one other guy who went in before me. It's one of those weird things where he came out looking, that look you give when you know you didn't do it that great. So he walked out like,
Oh, no.
I know, and I was like, I don't know who this guy is, but I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I should do well then. Try to.
Good.
And then I went in, and Mark was like, oh, so I found out overnight that you're not from America, and that you're from New Zealand. I wouldn't mind hearing it in that accent, just something different.
Whoa.
Which I don't love doing because when you learn it one way, you have to switch quickly.
Is that?
So I
does
did my
it feel
thing.
like a big switch?
Yeah, well, for me, I'm a bit better these days, but back then it used to be a bit more anxiety driven because I would learn it, by the lines rather than just switching into the accents.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'd end up with this weird hybrid sometimes, mid-Pacific,
Where you sound like Madonna after she moved to
No,
London.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Not in either place,
Yeah.
But to be honest, it did relax things. And I remember him saying, some of the lines made more sense because he'd been traveling and he was talking about different cultures and stuff. And he was like, I actually think that kind of works. And I think that might have been the thing that put it over the top, which was nice.
Wow.
And there's always the New Zealand connection with One Tree Hill anyway, because that's a monument in Auckland where I grew up.
Yeah.
And then became the U2 song, which I think is where,
Our
the
show title came from. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's so cool.
Did you grow up acting?
yeah, well, I mean, since I left high school professionally, but I was always since I was a kid, in school plays and all that stuff.
What was little Andy doing? We loved the little Lucas. Where's that
little Lucas? That tiny trick T-shirt. We did a spit take.
It was so sweet.
Yeah, that was fun.
And Moira's face when you do it, just she starts to talk and then just swallows her own breath and looks at the floor. It's so delicious watching.
It was very nice,
you.
subtle work right there. That was. I remember trying not to laugh in the take when she did that.
Were you doing musical theater as a kid? Did your whole family act? What's this?
No, not an acting family at all. My dad was was an ambulance chief, actually.
Oh wow!
And, so we didn't come from an acting family. I just got bit by the bug, I guess, when I was, all those 80s movies just got me.
Yeah,
all
wait.
Back to the Future, and I'm a sucker for it. I'm in, And
Done.
and then the thing, I could never sing, so it was not musical theater. I sung my way through The Dentist.
Oh, and Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, cute.
I bet you were a great dentist.
Oh, it was pretty fun because I'm an Elvis fan too, so I just did my Elvis thing. And you didn't really have to sing there, so that's as close as I got. But the weird thing about New Zealand then is there was really, definitely for television and film, there wasn't much of an industry. It's different now.
Because the scene there is huge. My husband and I talk about moving to New Zealand all the time. Sophia, have you been?
Honestly, same. I am ready to pack my bags and just go.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
It's a great place to go for the apocalypse.
Yes. Wait, were you there during the apocalypse? Did you get to escape? Escape from LA?
No. It was really difficult to get home. We thought about it. We thought about it. To be honest, if the election had gone the other way, we might have.
Bud, same.
You're like, it's time to go now.
Yeah, we've kicked the can down the road, so we'll stick around for a bit longer. But no, so I haven't actually been back for a little while. But it was funny because growing up in the 80s, it was always the Cold War, right? Like bombs are going.
Yeah.
And we were like the one country. I remember when I was like, which is kind of terrible, but you're 8 years old and you're going, all right, New Zealand's actually going to be okay.
We're fine.
Which is and it's still true, strangely.
Well, when we were there a few years ago, and I remember walking through this city and not feeling like there was any danger anywhere. And I'm someone who moved to New York and September 11th happened, Right. And so my, body is just trained to be in chaos whenever there's a crowd. And New Zealand was the first time I ever felt all the weight come off. Everyone there is so nice and engaging and lovely. And so, of course, we find magical Andy from New Zealand.
Well, I love hearing all that lovely stuff about my home. That makes me feel good. It's a lovely place.
Yeah.
It was so fun. We were talking about, I guess it would have been 2 episodes ago, where Andy takes Karen to his home, which we were laughing. We were like, oh my God, it's Airlie Gardens. Like it's literally a botanical garden. It's perfect. But when you're walking with her under that sort of stone pergola, it's so lovely to hear you telling her about home, about One Tree Hill in Auckland.
That's right. Yeah, it was in the dialogue, right?
It's in the dialogue, and you talk about it and how your favorite person on earth is your single mom who saw Tree Hill on the map and decided it would be a good place to transplant to. And I remember we were all discussing just how honest the scene felt and how there was subtext, but also exposition that felt right, and how you saw what Andy was drawn to in Karen, and you saw that she, for the first time, having gotten the travel bug going to Italy, felt like someone understood her in a larger context than who she is in this small town. We are real big fans of this relationship, is the point. It's really, really well done. You guys, you just made something so beautiful.
What was
Did it feel?
Yeah.
Did it feel like a big deal when you were doing it? Did it feel, really honest and alive, or was it like, I don't know what I'm doing here in North Carolina? Like, what was your experience when you got there, and joined our circus?
Right. No, it did feel like something special. It wasn't. This is one of the jobs you have. This was a really nice job, and the interesting thing for me is obviously I would come in and out. Just commuting. I'd go back home when I wasn't needed.
And where was home? Was that LA at that point?
It was LA at that point. Yeah, I'd sort of put down roots. I'd gotten married a year before. Like the idea was sort of to come and go, and I would have coming back and forth from New Zealand when I was trying to get work here. But I met Nicole and was like, okay, so this is home. So I was here. Yeah, still is.
Yeah, we still say, "Aww."
So life happens to you, but then going out to North Carolina. So yeah, I would come on in and I would see you guys socially because I didn't have a lot of scenes with a lot of other characters, which was interesting. And it sort of gets siloed off. But then I was siloed off with Maura, and that was incredible. So I felt like I was learning a lot from her. I knew her work a lot through the 90s, just as a movie fan.
Yeah.
And my wife was a big fan of The Cutting Edge.
Well, Topic.
Yeah, exactly.
We still say it, dude.
Still.
Topic. So when Nicole came out and visited, we went over to dinner with Maura and her husband, and she fangirled out. So that was fun.
That is fun.
Just in general, the Maura thing made me realize that no, this is a really good opportunity for me to grow and to meet her where she's at and to try to create something out of it. Because I liked it too. I thought all the storylines were really sweet with those two. So yeah, no, it was great.
Well, there was such a love affair that the fans had for the whole like Keith Kieren backstory.
Right.
Did you feel pressure coming in to, be a good guy, like someone who could fill those shoes?
Right. No, and the reason is I hadn't really been watching.
Cool.
So I knew I was piecing that together almost the same way that Andy was, which I kind of liked.
Which we see in this episode when they show up at the same restaurant and Andy's like, what's the problem here?
He's the only one who doesn't know, just like in a tennis match, looking back and forth.
You guys are all acting weird.
There wasn't a lot of acting going on there.
So good.
But I was no, and I pieced it together. Obviously, I understood the larger job of being the third wheel who was destined to lose at some point, which you understand that. And I think that actually takes the pressure off. It's more like, well, this is what's happening here with these people. And I understand that the fans are going to have a different relationship because of the Keith thing. It does give you that, it gives you pause of like, how do you hook into, putting this across in a way that people are going to enjoy, or they're just going to hate you, Because sometimes I've had other things where you're the third wheel, or I've been at other jobs where I've been the Keith, and it's tough for that other person sometimes, depending on how it's done, So I just sort of leapt in and went, oh well, we'll see.
I'm gonna kiss her. I'm gonna kiss the hell out of her. It's gonna be so cute.
I'll just do it.
So if the last episode was in Trick, and we could not figure out what the age difference was between Kieren and Andy, because they make such a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
Do you remember what it was supposed to be?
I don't know specifically, but I think I was playing slightly younger than myself. I mean, I was 30. I turned 30 when I did the job.
Oh my God, you were a baby.
I was pretty young. So were you guys. Holy crap. It's amazing, right?
We survived.
And I was I think I was supposed to be playing a few years younger, like mid-20s or something. So if maybe it's 10 years, roughly. I don't know.
Okay.
But they did lean into that, right? They were like very much like, this is crazy.
Oh, this would never happen.
Never happen.
Egad. Okay.
I remember in that scene too, I think it was when we met in that scene, right?
Well, because Peyton's all like, oh, hello, introduce me to your friend. I get that I'm a junior in high school, but...
I know, and that's when I went, oh, these girls are actually a lot younger. That's okay.
That's it. It was hard to separate fact from fiction because we're all like going out to bars and restaurants with each other after work.
I was meeting you as you guys. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
No, they're juveniles. Very illegal, friend.
They're babies.
Sweet little babies. The Andy trajectory is so kind of like dream dude. He's got that Jake Ryan from 16 Candles energy.
Yes.
Was that your inspiration? Right. Is that what you drew from the 80s movies?
No.
Man?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good reference. I remember them saying that they were trying to, and it's interesting. I remember, was it Ginny Garofalo said once about George Clooney and ER. She was like, so he's a pediatrician with an alcohol problem, and he's loves kids. I'm not made of wood. when it comes to the writing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like, you got it. I'm not made of wood. And I feel like some of Andy's writing was like that. It's like he's going to have lots of money, but that doesn't matter to him. And they did all these hooks where it's like, I think what they were saying is he's undeniable. And that's what happened with it, whoever played him on, when it comes to the writing.
Yeah.
And so I understood what they were doing there. And then my job was kind of like, okay, but you don't want to play that.
Well, how do we make him not loathsome? All that money talk?
Yes.
Was that so
Right.
weird?
Yeah. There were some lines where okay, all right. I get what they're doing. And I get where they're going, but boy, that's a minefield.
It's interesting. We talked about that a lot when there's those lovely scenes with you and Moira down on the Riverwalk, like right off of Market Street,
The hot dog date.
And the hot dog date. Oh my God. We love the hot dog stage, by the way. In this episode, you say you're past it. And we were like, but maybe just one more hot dog. But I loved, and we talked about this on a previous episode, how well you threw away that stuff. You were like, yeah, I did this thing and it was all this money and I wasn't that fulfilled. And now I'm a teacher. And it was so lovely. And we all remarked that in someone else's hands that could have made the audience want to punch Andy in the face. But you did it in a way that was so freaking sweet.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, we love him. We love this rich teacher.
You've stayed friends with a lot of the dudes from the cast. Like I said, it was fun to party with you at Tyler's wedding. That was a hoot. Who did you pal around with when you were there, and where'd you guys go? What trouble did you get into in Wilmington?
Well, again, I didn't. There was a lot of working relationship with most people because I wasn't in scenes with them, but I was in scenes with Moira. But Moira had her family and stuff. We definitely socialized a couple of times, but not so much. And then I was, Chad's dad. Chad's stepdad in a weird way, which we got a laugh out of a few times.
Yeah.
So I ended up seeing a bit of him, and then when Tyler came along, he was great. He was only like 21 as well, I think.
He was a baby. Yeah, you guys came on at the same time.
Roughly. Yeah.
And it's like the good angel and the bad angel on the shoulders.
He's so fun. I love seeing how he is on the show compared to how he is in real life. You know what I mean? It's like, no. He's not like
it's that. So funny. He especially, we were just weeping, laughing about Chris Keller talking about himself in the third person. Tyler would never. No. And to see Tyler play this insufferable man is so amusing.
Yeah, I think that's hilarious too. He was so good at it. And even the one that I watched for this episode 8, when he's in the recording booth with Joy, it's so beautiful. I mean, all the singing stuff and everything, I thought it was really well done. So there was this whole other show that I became a fan of watching that I wasn't really a part of. So that was an interesting thing too, as the years sort of go by.
That's a fun thing about ensemble work is that the world doesn't revolve around you and you get to kind of enjoy the thing that you're working on because you're not being self-critical. You can just be like, that was nice. I'm a fan of this.
Yeah.
Where do you think Kieren and Andy are in 2022? Ooh, 2022.
Wow.
2022. Well, their daughter will be grown now, right? She was.
Oh yeah.
Lily. The last time I went in.
She was like
it was
5.
I feel like season 5, she was about that age. So she's out of the house. They're empty nesters.
Hey,
now,
congrats, bud. You did it.
Well done. Well done.
Hopefully, I don't know, maybe they're still on that boat somewhere. I like that idea.
Oh, that's right.
Escaping the pandemic on their yacht.
He set up like yacht farms. Everybody's doing like fruit and vegetable farms on their yacht so they can feed the needy.
Oh. Yeah. Save the world. Mm-hmm. I like it.
Have you been able to see anybody in the last couple years? We've all been in lockdown. Have you seen anybody from the cast?
No, it has been a while. Actually, the last time I saw you guys was when I was seeing people. Tyler a little bit, but he's been out of the country.
He's in Canada. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, no, I've kind of lost touch to a certain extent.
Kieren, have you been to a convention?
I went to one, but that was around about the same time I saw you. I saw you at one time.
Oh my
But
God.
that only one. I've only ever done one. It was the one that went back to Wilmington.
Oh, you got to come party with us.
Well, because
Yeah,
Moira just did her first one, and we were all like,
Oh, she
what?
did?
Oh my God.
God, I haven't seen Moira in a decade.
She
Yeah.
hasn't aged a day. It's just
No.
unfathomable.
I listened to the episode you guys did with her. It was great.
Oh.
This is what's nice too, is you get to catch up with people. Mike.
Right? They
This
pay
thing
us
to
for
you
this?
guys.
This
What's
is
everyone up to?
ridiculous. Yeah, she is amazing. You know, took like a big hiatus to raise her kids, which, you know,
Right.
we all do. And is coming out of it with like this big, massive project. We're going to have
Yes.
to drag her back to Wilmington is what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll come when she comes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do we have that recorded? That's like
I
locked in
will
now?
100% buy a photo in the Kieren and Andy photo op.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm gonna be in the line with the fans, ready to go.
You want to be Lily? You're the baby?
That's the. Oh my God, can I? That's the reunion that I want so bad. That's gonna be my answer actually from now on. Whenever anyone says, "If you ever played a different character on One Tree Hill, who would it be?" I'd be like Lily.
Lily's on the boat. Lily.
It'd be great casting. I tell you.
Yeah,
It'd be great casting.
I want to be the child on the yacht.
Well,
That
she gets
sounds
to stay
amazing.
rich on like Brooke, you know. Lily.
Hey, yeah, Brooke had to go make all her own money back. My God.
Damn it.
It's
Kieran,
funny.
what are you working on now, man? What's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I've been a dad. My son is 14 now.
Weren't you guys doing a YouTube series together?
We did, yeah. And so we had a father-son project, which that's been the fun thing in the last few years. I've been doing more content creation.
Cool.
So we had this thing called A Kid Explains History,
Oh,
which
awesome.
is a YouTube channel. And he started when he was like 8, like a little cute little,
Yeah.
squeaky voice kid. And now his voice has dropped. And I don't know if he's a kid explaining history anymore. But we did.
A teen?
Yeah, teen, exactly. So and it was a fun thing because he was showing interest in it, and I kind of like the idea of, notice like a lot of people our age don't know much about history and
Yeah.
all the politics that's going on right now. A lot of
Civics.
people are like, people keep saying things like, "Oh, this is unprecedented," and I'm like,
No?
not much is unprecedented if you read a bit.
Yeah. Everything's
Um,
secular.
Yeah, we're actually repeating ourselves all the time because nobody knows history. So with Quinn showing interest in it, it was a cool little project. He's saying it in his own words to other kids to try to get this next generation actually thinking about it a bit more. And it really kind of took off, and it's been licensed to like Sensical, is the Common Sense Media app, and so there's these places around that really went a bit bigger than we thought. So that was fun.
That's so cool.
That's so Andy of you. Are you a history buff yourself?
Yeah, I was always into history. Yeah. So it satisfies because obviously I had to write a lot of them in the beginning. He sort of took over as he got a bit older, but he was more of the host at the beginning. But now he's an A student for history, so it worked.
Love
It's like a
that.
sneaky little fun project that ultimately was aiming for that. So
Wait, are you saying that's what I need to do with my kids? Because right now my son's just like, Mom, please let me have a YouTube channel. And I'm like, it seems like a bad idea.
well, that was his
No.
thing, and he was like 8, and he said he wanted to do what they all want to do. They want to do something on like,
Minecraft.
the game,
Yeah.
and it was Minecraft.
Yeah.
Minecraft was the thing. Is I want to do Minecraft. And I'm like, well, I don't know anything about it. I'm not that interested in it. So no, I don't. But history, let's
for
do
you.
that. And then he was off. So yeah, that was kind of fun.
Gus just, when he was little, he would just build like the Titanic. He would take like history and build it in Minecraft to capture my attention. He'd be like,
That's
Mom,
so
I just
cool.
built the Hamilton duel in Minecraft.
Oh, baby.
They would get so good at it too. Right? I mean, this is amazing. How old is he now? Like 10?
Gus is turning 12.
12.
And he's my height. It's like ridiculous. It's weird having tween kids, man.
Oh, man.
God.
In my head, we're still young and like going to Deluxe in Wilmington, and like, there's no way we have kids this old. That's crazy.
Yeah, guys, you have like small adults.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a trip.
Well, it's interesting too because you remember being that age. Like,
Yeah. Vividly.
you're very cognizant of what it was like to be a 14 or 12-year-old. Whereas
Mm.
when they're a bit younger, you're like, oh, the kid, the babies and stuff. But
Would you let your kids watch this show?
Oh, yeah.
I would if he was interested.
Oh, my God.
We're going to fast forward to the part where Sophia was screamed, "Oh, Professor!"
We tried to. Me and Nicole both tried to, put on our stuff or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, that's interesting."
He's like, yeah, okay.
Meh.
It's just
Does he,
just your old
doing
man.
the YouTube channel, do you feel like because he's been interested in history, that it's a way to teach him about storytelling and direction and production and all the things that you know? Has that kind of been the way to connect on the working level?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was what's been fun, I think, is technology caught up, right? You know, these phones and doing green screen stuff and all these things that I might have wanted to do 10, 15 years ago. For Quinn, it's second nature, all this stuff, because he's got an iPad, and so I do feel like we bonded over that, and being able to, like, the early ones are a bit scratchy, and then you get a bit better technically and everything, and then you've got this outlet of YouTube or websites where you can put it out there. So it's been great just from that point of view, and he really took to it. He was like a proud dad. He's like a natural. Put the camera on. He's cute.
Oh,
I love
and
it.
he's doing great now. So
does Nicole get involved on that stuff too? I know you mentioned that when you met her, shortly before, when you guys got married anyway, shortly before you came to join us, you were like, oh, this is home. I'm staying wherever she is. This is my place.
Yeah.
Gosh, when you guys got married in 2003, it's almost 20 years. That's crazy.
Yeah, we just celebrated our 19 from meeting, because we knew each other for like a year before we got married. It was
Good for
pretty cool.
you. That's a long time.
And she was on a teen drama.
She was on Wildfire, which was an
Cool.
ABC Family thing before Freeform.
Yes. So, did she have advice for you for One Tree Hill? Does she try to get in on the YouTube channel stuff with direction?
Those happened at the same time. And funny story, actually, I was just talking to Nicole about it the other day. The part of the One Tree Hill thing was she tested on One Tree Hill a month before I did. Before I ever auditioned.
For Jules?
She tested for Anna. For Daniela's.
Get out of town. I could have kissed your wife.
I think it got down to just those two.
Cool.
Oh, wow.
So the interesting part of the reason that the show was on my radar is I'm like, okay, well, it's been advertised, it was a hit show. And then Nicole nearly got on it, and we're like, oh, wow, this is cool. And we started watching. And they said something about her looking too young or something. It was, I don't know, something weird. But, and then 2 weeks later, I'm auditioning for Andy. So it was kind of, there's a universe out there where we were both on One Tree Hill, which would have been fun.
Listen, those
been
good
such
old
a trip.
WB days were
The
incestuous.
WB, exactly.
My husband tested or auditioned for the show. And so, for Keith's part.
Would have been perfect.
But that's it. Well, it would have been a different trajectory. That's the thing. It was the WB just owned this kind of content during that era. And so now all of our peers are like, what were your WB days? We all have that chapter.
Yeah, and I did an episode of Charmed or something just before that. Yeah, you start getting on their radar and everything. It's
Who'd
funny.
you kiss on Charmed?
So cool.
I didn't. I had a blind date with Alyssa. Alyssa Milano, and she was the character. It was a blind date, and she was supposed to find out whether or not we were meant to be together. And she touches my hand, finds out we're not, and wants nothing to do with it.
Oh,
wow!
If only. If only.
Imagine the pain we all could have been saved in our 20s,
right?
If you could touch
exactly.
and know.
It's a good skill to have, right?
Jesus. Hey, we get fan questions on this show that we want you to participate in. You feel like
yes,
inquiring minds want to know. What's our question, Soph?
Oh, okay. From Danny. In your opinion, this kind of relates to your son. In your opinion, what is the perfect age to start watching One Tree Hill, and why?
Whoa.
Well, I actually think he is at a pretty good age, 13, 14. I mean, because you're getting into that, the friendship groups in high school and starting to, and I always think it's kind of fun when it's a little bit aspirational, like they're a little bit younger and they're looking up at these kids. Like when 90210 came out for me, some of those shows.
Was that your show?
That was my show. That was what reminded me when I got on this. I was like, this is me being on 90210.
Did you know Paul from 90210? Wasn't Paul the bad guy on that show?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the fun thing. I remember Paul from that, and I remember Craig obviously through his movies.
Oh yeah.
And I really enjoyed talking to him. It's funny because we're in this rivalry, but we ended up sharing a few scenes together, and on set we would actually talk a lot about his old days. I was fascinated. Just tell me some Redford stories, man. Tell me what's going on. And he obliged. It was great.
Did he tell you his Warhol stories?
The which one?
Andy Warhol stories.
No,
How he was discovered. Oh my God. We're going to get around to drinks and tell some stories.
Yes. Oh, we need it. Kieren, we're working on getting Hilarie to the West Coast for a little hang soon. So we'll just.
Well, yeah, we just talked to Maria Menounos and we're like, yo, girl, you trying to party? We're going to get the band back together.
Yeah, count me in.
I think that watching our show with your parent is a good tool. There was actually a writer in Wilmington, Celia Rivenbark, who wrote a couple books. And she talked about watching One Tree Hill with her daughter because it was a natural door opener to have conversations about sex and drugs and drinking and all that stuff. But if you're a kid that's just watching it by yourself, I think being a little bit older, like, you know,
I would agree with that.
17, 18 is probably a better place.
That's been happening with Nicole too, with Quinn. Like they bond over watching a lot of the new Netflix shows that are probably in that same subject matter. And so that's what Nicole's been doing with Quinn a lot.
Yeah, one of the things that was always so cool to me was when, and even now it happens, we just had a set photographer who told me the version of this story, but when we would meet parents who would say that, who would say, this show has given me a window into having conversations with my kid that I didn't know how to have or start. Yeah. And kids would say, you know, it was really interesting. I was always so embarrassed. My parents would make me watch the show with them, but then they opened up to me and told me all this stuff about things they went through that I never knew about.
Yeah.
That always felt like a really special thing to be a conduit like that for viewers.
And you can see, especially with this show, it has been happening a lot. Like, I don't know how it is for you guys, but, you know, because I wasn't in it as much, there'll be like years and years where you don't hear about it. And then these progressively younger people will come up to you in the street.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Holy crap. You know what I mean? And I'm like, how old are you? But, but this rediscovering it on streaming or whatever has constantly surprised me. It's really lovely. It's not the same people it's the children of the people who are watching it the first time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's just
pretty
nuts.
special.
It's nuts, man. Going to the supermarket here, I look like a homeless lady all the time. And I feel like I need to apologize to these kids because they're just like, what happened to you? There's a Dunkin' Donuts
I have
down
my
the
beard
road.
and everything, and they still recognize
Your
me.
beard looks fantastic. I love it. How long has this beard been on your face?
Oh, it comes and goes.
Yeah.
Is it a COVID beard?
No, I mean, it comes and goes. I have it for a couple of weeks, shave it off. That was the funny thing is how short my hair was in those early buzz cuts.
Your buzz cut.
You and Chad had the same haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was that 2004 thing. I feel like Brad Pitt did it for like Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah.
And then every dude did it for like.
Yeah, he sure did.
Like,
we remember.
You're gonna buzz out here. It's so
I like
funny
it.
to see that.
All right, so we've kind of touched this question a little bit. Brenna said you've talked about a lot of other teen dramas that were popular when you started filming One Tree Hill. Did you ever have conversations with other teen show stars during that time about your experience? Well, I mean, you did Charm. Did you jump around to any other of these kind of like super moody TV shows, Kieren?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. No, I didn't. I didn't do it. I ended up moving on to, it's kind of like Lifetime and Hallmark and
I love those jobs.
Episodic television. Yeah, exactly. You've been doing some good ones too, huh? And it's I ran into some people, you know, like at parties and stuff.
That's it. You go to parties and you both commiserate.
Yeah. It'd be like the OC guys, you know, be like Adam Brody or all these guys. I'm like, okay, we'll chat, but not really about work. But I don't think I had that experience, no.
Back when we were kids, I remember because Josh Jackson still had his place in Wilmington for a bit after Dawson's wrapped.
Right.
And I remember like being out at Wrightsville and having a beer with him and him just being like, it's going to be great. It's also going to get really weird. This place is small. There's nowhere to go. And everybody's going to date everybody and just be nice to each other. And I was like, what? Like, I just thought it was so funny. And now I see Josh.
Those are words of wisdom right there.
No, truly. He was just like, there's nowhere to go. You're in a petri dish together. Get ready. And then, you know, now I see Josh and we're on like all these amazing, you know, whisper networks of activists working on social justice issues. And we just laugh. We're like, remember when we were just two dumb kids in Wilmington and we were all so messy?
Yeah.
And there was a strange sort of vague overlap for you guys. I think it was over by the time I got there. But I remember you guys talking about that. Same places. same houses.
Literally
and all
the
this
same
stuff.
exact crew. They just rolled
Same
up.
crew.
Same.
Yep.
They took their
Same
summer
crew.
break and they're like, we got a new pack of kids. What are you going to do?
Here we go.
Yeah.
That happens. All right. When Nicole's show ended, that was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and that crew went on to Breaking Bad, which is like
No
such
way.
That's a
such
different.
strange from a show about teenage girls and horses to Breaking Bad.
Horses.
Always makes us laugh.
You know
It's
what?
whiplash.
If you can find the parallel, there's a whole new TV show.
I'm sure there's a through line there somewhere. I don't.
Teen girls who deliver drugs on horseback.
Shut
Guys, we got
Mule.
it.
Tuesdays on the CW.
I'd watch it.
Mules. Perfect.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'd watch that.
You heard it here first, guys.
You want to spin
It's
a
so
wheel?
fun.
Kieran, we do this thing where we do most likely to. It's like senior
From the
superlatives
yearbook.
From the yearbook.
Mhm.
in Did you guys have yearbooks in New Zealand?
Yes, we did.
All right. Did you have
I
superlatives?
actually just saw them recently.
Oh,
Yes, yes.
so we're going to let you go first. You can pick a real live castmate or a character from the show. Who do you think is most likely to survive on a desert island?
Oh, come on, Whitey, right? Very cool. that guy would just whip that into shape.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're right.
It's like that show Alone. He'd have like a fort built.
Yeah.
It would be like chopping on a cigar and you're just chopping down stuff. He'd just get
He'd
it
be
done.
like cutting up a random plant for dinner and going, God damn it, why is this so tough?
Camilla, where's the seasoning?
It's like Castaway with Tom Hanks, but Whitey instead.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
would watch that show.
Yeah.
You know, I actually met him in New Zealand before he came out here. That was the
No.
other
You
funny
met
thing.
Barry?
Yeah, he came down in
What?
he came down in the year 2000 to do one of our movies where Kelly McGillis was the lead, and it was one of those like horror movies, And they came down there to try to make Auckland look like America,
Texas.
Kind of. It's like kind of. And I was like, I was a backpacker in the movie or something, and he was the sheriff.
Of course.
And we took him out. Me and my buddies, we took him out to like a cigar bar and everything because he was like there alone. He just wanted to have a look around. So we had some nights on the town with Barry.
Dude, Barry
and then like 4
parties.
years later, 4 years
Barry's
later,
fun.
there he is. I'm like, how funny is that?
Yeah, hanging out
weird.
at Charlie Brown's.
You're right.
Did you go to that bar, Charlie Brown's, with Barry?
I think I went to all those bars.
Yeah. He used to have his mail delivered there to the bar.
Right. Yes, I do remember. He was great. He was so great.
Oh, he's
Another
so
one with the stories, I would just sit. You're like sitting there at the knee, going, "Tell me more."
Of course. Okay, so if Whitey's going to survive, which cast member, real life person, do we think will survive on a deserted island?
Oh, real life. Okay.
Yeah, like a friend of ours. I mean,
I'd love to see what Paul does. I don't know if he would survive, but I'd love to see what happens to Paul.
yeah. Yeah,
Just
Paul,
put the cameras up.
I
and
love
watch
that.
it.
I don't know if he makes it, but I want to watch
the
it.
Truman Show. We'll just put cameras in the palm trees. Yeah, I'm here for
I
it.
think he'd find an angle. I think he would work it out.
He would find an
Yeah.
angle. Yeah. Okay.
He'd get rescued.
You know what? With his luck, yes. Paul,
He'd get rescued.
like Robert Downey Jr. in his Iron Man outfit would like swoop down because they're best friends, pick him up. Nick Cassavetes would film the whole thing. It would be amazing.
And they'd win an Oscar.
Yeah.
There you go.
Done. Oh, Kieran, it's so good seeing you.
It was so good. This is fun. Thanks for inviting me on.
Yeah.
Thank
well,
you for coming.
We're gonna have our big party out west. I can't wait. I'm itching to
Sounds
get
good
out.
to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get crazy. And in the meantime, we're going to be watching your kid teach us all about history. Thank you for putting that into the universe.
Oh,
So we can all be
for
smarter.
real.
We got that out there, and we just Nicole and I've been working on scripts too. We've been writing
Great.
together.
Really?
So hopefully there's some stuff coming out. Oh, and that's what I did in the pandemic. I wrote a book.
What?
What? Way to bury the lead, friend.
Yeah.
I know. Here I am at the end going, oh, by the way.
Oh, by the
It's really fun because, when you're writing the script, it's interesting. And you sort of try to, you get your agent and you're pitching it out there and stuff, and that's fine. But it's all collaborative. With the book, you sort of, you make it what you want it to be,
Wait, is the book about history? What is it about?
No, it's actually, it's a science fiction book because
Oh my
we had
God.
this idea. Nicole and I came up with this idea for a TV show. And how it's all existing IP now. So
Of
we're like,
course.
well, let's
Yeah.
try to get it out there as a book first and see if we can build an audience. But
Cool.
it is filled with all the stuff that we love, all the
Wait,
genre stuff, you know.
when can we read it?
Yeah, when do we
Well,
get
it's out
it?
of publishers right now, so and this is what it was during the pandemic last year where I went, I've got all this time on my hands, and you know, what the hell are we doing?
You're the
So I
one
just-
person that got things done.
I did on that guy people hate. Where you're like, I did this.
Yeah, I got in shape.
Ah.
I wrote a book.
I had so many goals for the pandemic, and I did not a one.
Yeah.
Well, I grew a beard and I wrote a book.
Oh my
Damn.
God.
Listen, when you're ready for us to blurb about it, we're blurbers.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. So,
Mhm.
you know, it's at that stage right now where we're getting it out there, and we'll stay tuned. But yeah, exciting stuff. It's all this fun stuff of like, what's the next
Yeah.
thing got to be that we do, rather than, you know, just auditioning for things all the time.
Yeah. The hustle is strong, my friend.
Oh,
I
yeah.
appreciate
All that stuff.
Next week we have season 2, episode 9. The trick is to keep
Ooh.
breathing. I don't know what comes next for Andy, but I feel like it's
Yeah.
probably something flirty.
I think so. You just had your first official romp with Karen. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah.
That was cute. That little wake up in the morning scene was real. It was real cute.
I wanted to show her my painting, right? No, she wanted to show me her painting.
She wanted to show you the print. You're the one
print,
with the
yeah.
painting.
Yeah,
That was one of those lines.
It's in the bedroom. It's in the bedroom.
We don't know how you pulled it off, but you made it not gross, and truly we bow down. You need to not only teach kids about history, but you should be teaching people about acting.
Yeah.
Well, humility within $30 million.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Perfect. Honey, it's so good seeing you. Thank you for playing
You too.
with us. And we will
Thank
we
you.
will see you soon, hopefully.
I will hopefully see you in person soon, and I will keep on listening to this because
Hey,
you guys
thanks.
are doing a great thing here. This is awesome.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, bud.
We love you. All right, the rest of you guys
We
at
love
home
you.
have a fantastic
Mwah.
week. This has been our favorite episode.
I think
In a
so.
while. See you guys later.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, Kieran.
Hey, thanks for listening.
Don't forget to leave us a review. You can also follow us on Instagram at Drama Queens OTH.
Or email us at dramaqueens@iheartradio.com. See you next time.
We're all about that high school drama girl, all about them high school queens. We'll take you for a ride in our comic girl, cheering for the right team. Drama queen.